the second episode of our show, The Power of Social Impact Creating Tomorrow's World Today. Our special guest is Peter Ratnikov. He is an entrepreneur, a cryptocurrency consultant, speaker, and co founder of the Vegan Experience. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today. This episode is going to be about blockchain, cryptocurrency, and social impact. Peter, for those who don't know about what this is, in a few words, how would you define what crypto or blockchain is?
Well, without getting into the technical stuff, which people can find online, there's lots of information. It's a technology that created something digital and rare. And since the internet started, we've had ways to send information, but everything you could copy 1,000, million times a video, whatever the case may be. So with the technology Bitcoin, it created digital rarity. And now we have a way of interacting as a form of, you could say, finance or rarity, which is creating new economies and new ways of interacting on the internet.
And how do you think that crypto can make a positive impact in this world?
Well, crypto has a lot more opportunities for the average person because there's no barrier to entry. Like if we live here in North America, where I'm speaking from, and there's only about 1.5, 2 billion of the 7 billion people who can bank like we can and send wire transfers. And not to say these things are inexpensive, but it's possible. And a lot of places in the world, that's not even an option. So for the first time now, people will just access to a smart device. They don't have to even own a computer or a cell phone. They just have to access it once a month, once a week, and they can make a password. Someone can show them how to open an email for free, open a Bitcoin wallet, which is like a Bitcoin bank account for people so they understand the transaction side of it. And if they're using things like the Lightning Network, they can operate absolutely for free and even send pennies, nickels, dollars, thousands of dollars for no cost. And there's no cost to entry, which is going to open a lot of doors for the 5 billion people that don't have modern banking. And that's why it's going to impact not necessarily the money side of it. It's the smallest people, by the time it gets to them, will just help everyone individually so much more to have that option to communicate through the world.
And now that you say that about security, about not having barriers of entrance, I wanted to ask you, because in one of our last interviews we talked about employee engagement, millennials, and I see that you're as young as me, so this question is basically for us, because transparency is key in corporations nowadays. And how do you think that crypto and blockchain are gonna transform or revolutionize the way we do transactions, and how do our generations are more accepting in these new technologies than previous ones?
Well, the most people who have struggles financially, there is a small set of people that struggle their whole lives, but mostly it's young people. People that are getting into the workforce, especially if they haven't been educated on how to properly handle the finances, which school doesn't necessarily get into details about or at all in some cases. So for the people that are starting off, like a simple statistic just in America, there was $8 billion made off non-NSF fees, or like there's not money being the account fee. And these are coming from the poorest people. The poorest people that needed the most are the ones getting impacted by it. It's kind of not fair. And it's these people are like the working hard people. People that are getting these charges actually have cash flow coming in. So they're not the poorest of society. They're in a place where they have a house payment or a rent payment, and all of a sudden they went out for dinner, then their Netflix came out, then they bought something online and then realized, oh, their paycheck's coming the next day, and they just include it in their fee. So they're not good with managing money. And these are the people that actually need the $35 the most every month. And that compounded over a whole society just in one country, that's very impactful. So where the world's going with multiple currencies and multiple options available, you're going to see eventually employers, they'll start off just a few of them, but in a matter of years to a decade or sooner to come, people will be paid as soon as they leave their shift. So it's going to be no cost and it's going to be instant. And the technology is already there. So it's a matter of how many years before the environment you work in adapts it fully. But in the more techie places, that's already been happening for a long time. Even in people that are just in like, not in necessarily in cryptocurrency or finance, but are just in the tech fields, are close with guys in that side, and they work together and they implement it in their companies, and their employees get paid as soon as the workday is done every single day. And those are the people that will directly save on transaction fees and things of that nature, because they don't understand how to use it, but when they have it coming daily, it's going to be forced to be something instead of, oh, my check comes every 2 weeks and I just spend money on a card. That's not going to be the case anymore. People are actually going to have to put more thought into it because it's like, oh, look, here's another, whatever, $100, $400 deposited into my account today, or 82. And why is it 82 today instead of 100? Where they would have maybe noticed this before. It's going to make people pay attention more to their daily transactions.
Well, this is connected to what you said because how can this technology help people below poverty line? Because I live, for example, I live in Argentina, and here blockchain, we're still learning about it. We're still learning about cryptocurrency. How can we help these people? Because, for example, in my country, we have almost 50% of poor people over here, which is a really a huge number to think about. How do you think that this can help, let's say, Latin American country?
I don't think it's just the any place that has difficulty to entry. There is a way now. Like one, even the poorest village that has one store and one whatever can get one computer, one, or like whatever, a few cell phones that the village shares with timeshare. Like, you have 2 hours or 6 hours a week to use this phone, and there's devices as cheap as like very reasonable that the whole town could go on that for $30 or $60 for sure, with a device with an entry cost that can be financed, and they could have an internet hotspot there no matter where they are on this planet. So there is ways that, as long as that basic infrastructure is in place, which is the case almost everywhere right now, I would argue, and the few places that are missing it, they could get it established with one entrepreneur that wants to help that person, not even a wealthy one per se, someone that could afford a few $100s and some time to educating these people. That would be a very simple way to get in. So having people to be able to come in, the more important thing is we maybe have choice here in like the top 5-10 countries in the world, this G7 G20 countries. We can buy assets, we can buy stocks, we can buy gold, silver, whether it be digital or physical. We can go invest in things that other people might not have the opportunity to do so. So the only choice they have is to save in their local currency. And in some places, their local currency goes up. In the US, they've printed 25% the last year and a half. So it's 38% of all their currency has been printed in the US alone. And that's supposed to be a great place. So that's been happening every year in some countries for the last 30 years, 50 years, right? So people have got used to this. It's not fair. But the only choice they have is to save in this currency. But it's not fair if you went to work one day and you made 100, whatever your currency is, and then the next year you have to make 150, and then the year after 200 to get the same amount. You're working just as hard, but now you're getting less and less and less value for what you're getting in. And real estate might be inaccessible for people that are living mouth to mouth, rent to rent, paycheck to paycheck. So these are the people that have never had a choice to save besides their local currency. So now with this access to this technology and the infrastructure of being paid daily, which will happen in almost every industry, people will be like, oh my God, I could take a dollar, a penny, no matter whatever your currency value is, the tiniest margin, and move it to asset class for free, which they never had a choice, not their local currency, something that won't drop in value. It doesn't have to be Bitcoin. There'll be other options. There'll be digitized gold. There already is tons of options available to people through this technology to be able to hold many options. So now the people that with a little bit of education, the right guidance, could now for the first time actually save and empower their lives instead of saving and struggling and playing a losing game.
I have another question because you said that this is gonna help a lot of countries. Is there a way, because this is a decentralized technology, is there a way that the government can control this and they can affect how cryptocurrencies work?
They're going to control certain aspects of it, right? So it just depends how much safety you want to take on your internet. If you don't get an IP, if you don't get a device to move your IP address, a VPN, you can get them for free for $1 a month. Like they're very accessible, right? So that if you don't do that basic step, then they could monitor where and what you're going on. If they want to suppress your internet, they can. But if you just want to avoid them, you could do a step like that. If they go more intense and lock down other things, you have to maybe smuggle in one of these hotspots that are available through different countries and different networks. And then you can get internet, real internet through your hotspot, right? That might be considered illegal in your country temporarily, but everything's been illegal. Like in North America, it's illegal to own gold. It's a lot of things just because they're illegal doesn't mean they don't happen necessarily, right? So now you have the option just more freely to access these points of attack.
We talked about cryptocurrency, but now I want to move on to another topic because we usually talk about Bitcoin, but there are other ways that we can talk about DLT technology or blockchain that can actually be central for making a social impact, like a positive impact in this world in the next few years. Let's say, for example, I know climate change, food distribution, because we talked a lot about Bitcoin. But is there any other way that this kind of revolutionize the way we see things?
Well, yeah, the technology, like we're just talking about the decentralized aspect of it, right? There's always going to be a way if you want to use it properly, you will. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to put on restrictions and you're going to think you're using the technology, but you're actually not. But let's say you, for the people that are actually action takers and movers and shakers, they're going to figure out how to actually use it. So for that tribe of people, they're going to have a way to now verify almost everything they want to. They're going to, as this adapts more and more and more, not only from clothing to wines and alcohols and foods and anything you can imagine, salts and anything physical was going to be attached for no fee to this digital tracking system that is voluntarily placed there so that the client or the customer and the business provider and the customer could communicate frictionlessly with no cost, right? That's never been possible before. That's going to open so many more doors and opportunities for everything to be verified. And if you're a small up and coming business or startup and you have something actually very special, you know, if it takes off now very fast, you can't keep up with demand, there'll be lots of fakes. And not to say the fakes will stop, but now for the people that genuinely can't tell the difference, or when they're ordering it, it looks identical and they want to support you, but they can't verify it, they'll be able to verify these things. And instead of maybe this money going to somewhere in South America where it was originally made, it's going to China or it's going to India or who could go anywhere, right? I was just using those two countries as an example because they have big populations. Now it could stay for the people that actually want to support. And that's going to have such social impact because now they could verify they're supporting the cause they want to. And without any complications or without having to go through big hurdles or boundaries or call people or show up. This is just going to be there for free, trackable on the internet, more trackable than you do have like a package right now. Like right now that is still, it's tracked, but there's a lot of inconsistencies and it gets a lot of times it's temporary. This won't happen in a blockchain that updates every few minutes, seconds, hour in the worst case, right? You have an update every single hour or whatever this is that you're interested in.
Thank you so much for that answer, Peter. I want to ask you because I know you have a YouTube channel. For those who are watching this episode, The Power of Social Impact, and they want to know more about you, where can they find you? What are you doing at the present moment? We're gonna share the links over here from your YouTube channel, your website. Peter Ratnikov, he's a cryptocurrency consultant. So if they want to contact you, they will have your links over here. So I want to ask you if you want to present yourself, you want to say what you're doing. We're going to have also a screen sharing. I'm going to show everyone what you're doing, your YouTube channel, pictures of it. So I'll let you talk now.
Yeah, so the main thing I want to get across is I just want to get the message for people to know this is an opportunity for everyone. It's not too late. When I got into this space 6, 7 years ago, people thought they were telling me they're too late. Then I heard 4 years ago, people telling me they're too late. I had 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, today, yesterday, people think they're too late. It's not too late. It's like saying you're too late for the internet. If you were born now and you're going to use the internet 10 years from now, how could you say anyone's too late? It's the technology we're all going to use. So that's why I want to get a point across. And this is why originally we started a documentary that we're working on right now. But it connected to my podcast because I wanted to have more deeper content. And as that gets built out, this can be updated more frequently. So my name, like Peter Ratnikov, is the YouTube channel where I'm doing this. I also have Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything else. But mostly I want to just get the YouTube across because I'm going to be sending messages every week, month, whatever the case may be, and updating things that are more down to earth and people can understand why crypto could help themselves, their family members, people around the world in general. It's something here to stay. It's something here that's very positive. And this is why I spread the message. For the people on my website, even though I do consult, my number's there. You could just call me. Like, you don't have to like book a consultation fee. If you're gonna not waste my time and ask good questions, I'm available for anyone to speak with. But I'm very direct, right? So sometimes I'll get to the point very quick if you're calling me, because I don't like to waste your time or mine. But if you come with good questions, I love great conversations. So I'm very accessible. Would love anyone on the YouTube channel to subscribe, support just a new thing I'm building out. And eventually we'll have good documentary, or maybe even a few documentaries. We're working on a docu-series right now coming out. Most likely next year will be the first main release, and we'll see how quickly we can get the other ones made.